Hello there, welcome back to the booth. That's Randy Bueller. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe, and we are ready to head down to the feature match area for round 10 here from Pro Tour Fate Reforged. Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Fate Reforged. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Hall of Famer Randy Bueller, and we are ready for round 10 action in our feature match area. You can take a look at it. Our main feature match features, well, another Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Rietzl, sitting at 7-2 in the tournament, so nicely positioned, but needs to keep racking up wins to keep himself in contention for top 8. He's playing against a 3-time Pro Tour top 8 competitor, Lee Shi Tian from Hong Kong. And it looks like they're just about ready to go there. Lee says, can I play now?
Paul's deck is awesome. It features not one, but 2 copies of Ojutai.
What?
He apparently got past at least one of them.
So you open one, you take it, and then somebody ships you an Ojutai, and you're like, hey.
Must be nice.
They never play around the second one, right? Wow, he's also got a Seeker of the Way.
A fine start.
As far as power level goes, it's about on par with Ojutai, although relative to converted mana cost. Also in our feature match area, we've got Seth Manfield versus Martin Milla of Denmark. We've got Jesse Hampton versus Eric Froelich. We'll be checking in on that. And Matt Oldeker, somebody I've got my eye on as it's his first Pro Tour. He's playing against Jelger Wiegersma. Welcome.
Welcome to the Pro Tour, kid.
Hall of Famer. So nothing from Lee Shi Tian in the early stages here. Both of these players, as you can see, are ranked in the top 25. Lee's at 6, Paul's on 14. And a decent little start here from Rietzl. Wandering Champion is the follow-up play for his Seeker of the Way, and so far Lee Shi Tian has done nothing.
Let's see what he's got to work with.
Uh-oh.
No third land?
Uh-oh. Is he deciding what to discard right now, Randy?
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's the sweat. When you're in the feature match area and they tell you, okay, resolve mulligans and wait, we'll start when the camera gets here. And you're like, I guess I'll keep. And then you just got to wait and wonder if your mulligan decision was correct. And this one, I don't know if it was wrong. I mean, his hand looks decent. It's just he has no green mana. Yeah, he basically had 2 draw phases to find a green, and then his hand's great, right? If he can play turn 2 Whisperer of the Wilds into that Archer's Parapet, but he whiffed on any mana for 3 turns. Now he's discarding.
Right, now he's discarding. I think he figured even if he hit another Plains, he could at least kill shot something on turn 3 and keep a little of the pressure off of him. But
yeah, that hand with Plains, it's tough, but I probably keep it too.
Yep.
All right, so here's Refocus. Looks like Paul Rietzl may have some mana issues of his own here if he's firing off a Refocus.
Well, I mean, it does trigger the prowess and the life gain and cycle him into a card. He wants to just hit Lee as hard as he can and try to finish him off before
he gets
he
an
can
extra
find mana.
damage in, I suppose.
And gains 3 life.
Sure. Think that Lee may have missed his mana again here, and we could see a quick game.
Yeah. So what's going on the back tables?
Yeah, we might be checking in sooner than later.
King of the Hill, Seth Manfield, trying to hold off the, Martin Muller, the Danish
national,
captain.
Yeah, World Magic Cup champion, sitting at 8-1. Eric Froelich is playing against Jesse Hampton as well. Both of those players are 8-1. And then I mentioned the Matt Oldeker and Jelger Wiegersma match as well. Jelger's actually at 7-1-1, where Oldeker's at 8-1.
Go.
Both won their first match in our feature pod, though.
It was Whisper of the Wilds, and Lee Shi Tian has seen enough facing lethal damage. He's going to scoop it up, and Paul Rietzl is going to take a very quick game 1 here in round 10. We will be back with a live look in after these messages.
Some great entertainment there.
You've watched the Pro Tour. How about playing on the Pro Tour? Qualifiers for Pro Tour Dragons of Tarkir are going on until February 22nd, with winners earning an invitation and airfare to Brussels in April. Visit magic.wizards.com/PTQ for more information. Vampires, dragons, beasts. Monsters are awesome, and so are Magic fans. So we're giving Magic 2015 Duels of the Planeswalkers players the new Master of Monsters card pack as a bonus. Get these 30 new all-foil cards added to your digital collection as a bonus starting February 11th. Visit magicthegathering.com now to learn more.
And welcome back to the feature match area. Let's take a look at that back table there. That is Matt Oldeker. He won a PTQ in Columbus to make it to his first Pro Tour here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Jelger Wiegersma on the other side of the table, however, has played significantly more Pro Tours than his opponent.
Yeah, Oldeker has had success in other card games, so I mean, he is not a completely unfamiliar name to many of the folks. But Jelger has been playing and winning Pro Tours for quite some time. Winning matches at Pro Tours.
Wow,
anyway.
nice
Winning the
end
team
step
Pro Tour.
cutting strike there. As well from Jelger Wiegersma. We'll get the... And he fires off a cutting strike there to take down an Alpine Grizzly. And draw a card and get 2 damage in. Not too bad at all. We'll be back down there in just a moment as we get the name set up. You
See
can
Eric playing Jesse in the right-hand corner.
Yeah, that's a nice matchup there, too. And Jelger's got a nice follow-up play here as well. He's got a Summit Prowler. So, looks like he's in pretty good shape as Jelger Wiegersma. But Oldeker's going to have something to say about that, too. He's got a Goblin Heel Cutter with what looks like a +1/+1 counter on it. Not quite able to get through the Monastery Flock. Could trade if Jelger wanted for the Summit Prowler. But here is a Treasure Cruise from Oldeker. Yeah, Oldeker's played some GPs. You know, he's got about 100 GP matches under his belt. So he's played some high-level Magic in his day. He hasn't had the level of success yet that he'd like, but sitting at 8-1. And you already have to start playing Hall of Famers, of course, early here on day 2. This is only the second round of draft.
How many cards?
And he is so close to killing Jelger. Jelger's at 3.
Two blockers for the heel cutter, though. It's like anything, and that heel cutter could get through.
Yeah, you know, I think he's got a Vault Breaker in his hand and just doesn't have the 1 extra mana he needs to dash it. Would have done it. But now Jelger gets another untap and draw here to see if he can further bolster his defenses and keep Oldeker at bay, who is really looking threatening now that he's resolved that Treasure Cruise. Now
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Jelger has to figure, okay, now there's 4 more cards, including his next draw step that he has to deal with. I see Seth Manfield in the upper left there was already in the shuffle mode. All right, well, it looks like we're going to jump back over to our main feature match where things seem to be going immediately more smooth for Lee Shi Tian. He finds Whisper of the Wilds on turn 2. It's going to get
Paul's cycling a
momentarily
Defiant Strike.
pumped, but Paul's pretty aggressively just moving through his deck here with Defiant Strike. We saw him do that with Refocus as well. And really, I have to say, the ideal turn 2 play here. Secret of the Way for Rietzl.
Such a good 2-drop.
Yeah.
His hand is not super explosive, though. He does have a Morph. I mean, the curve's okay, but he's not like he's going to be trading a lot of cards to get to that Treasure Cruise right away. Needs to draw some gas. Does Paul?
No black mana yet for Lee Shi Tian, but he'll settle for 2 out of 3 colors after having
and plenty
not
of
seen
choices.
the second
just the
color
green
in
and
the
the white.
first game.
He can play what? Einok Guide and Archer's Parapet here, or he can play Watcher, or he can leave up Killshot. All those lines seem reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, plays face up Watcher of the Roost.
Wow.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have a he does have a white card, but you don't really want to reveal Killshot.
I guess you don't.
I mean,
It's just-
what's at stake?
He
right?
just doesn't
It's
have
just
any
2 life.
blocks here is the problem. Like, playing the Watcher of the Roost just means he's going to take extra damage here. If he uses up all of his mana and gets the parapet down, the shields are firmly up. This signals to me that Lee is actually looking to be the aggressor here.
Oh, it's
potentially.
absolutely a role assignment decision.
Yeah.
He's like, instead of playing defense on the ground, he's like, first I want to get my 2-power flyer in the air. Then I'll start worrying about blocking Seeker of the Way.
Yep.
Definitely put a priority on getting that evasive attacker into play first, and then putting the shields up.
Yeah, it's at the cost of a slightly less mana-efficient play as well. So
This turn's pretty good, though.
We'll
He
see
can
what
play
happens here.
either the Parapet or the Guide and have up the kill shot.
Yep.
Guide down, parapet, and he's going to pass the turn back.
Okay,
So
not leaving kill shot, just goes
Right.
for the 2 guys.
So now, you know, he traded a little bit of damage in the early stages like we mentioned, but now he's the one who can attack. freely here with his Watcher of the Roost, and he's got good blocks on the ground.
Go.
Yeah, not an impressive turn here for Rietzl. Managed to keep hitting his land drops, but the Jeskai student doesn't look too great on this board. And again, Lee Shi Tian is able to keep pecking away, or
maybe not.
Is he? So bird fight here. Monastery Flock is going to get in the way of the Watcher, and we've got a bit of a stalemate here. This is,
I think that Paul Rietzl is just fine with the stalemate. He's sitting on a Treasure Cruise and an Ojutai.
I think
Let's just stare at
he's
each other for a couple
openly
turns.
encouraging stalemates at this point.
Exactly.
Wow. I'm like, I feel slightly jealous of Paul Rietzl right now.
Go.
And yeah, the stalemate continues. He's going to play an Einok Bonkin.
Yeah, speaking of cards that are good in a stalemate.
No kidding. Now, what about Lee Shi Tian? What does he have to try to break through here?
Just that kill shot.
He drew a card for the turn. We haven't got that one on the card tool quite yet, but it's going to have to be something quite impressive. As, yeah, nothing doing. Just going to pass the turn back. More lands off the top for Rietzl, but those are a welcome addition as he works his way up to Ojutai and Treasure Cruise. That kill shot. Would love to meet Ojutai.
Sounds like Eric Froelich lost that first game to Jesse Hampton. He resolved Sagu Mauler, but Ruthless Ripper took it down, and Jesse Hampton got that first game. Had an interesting chat with Eric between rounds about his deck. He actually, well, he doesn't think his deck is super powerful relative to like all the decks that are drafted at the Pro Tour. Felt like relative to the cards that were opened at this table, it's actually pretty good.
Right, there's a
sort of an interesting way of looking at
Khrushchev here.
things.
Yeah, that is interesting, yeah. Pharaoh Khrushchev here for Lee Shi Tian. At least threatens to start getting the attacks flowing for him.
Dragon.
Here's Ojutai. So Ojutai is part of these, there's 5 of these dragons
Your turn. Yeah, 1 9. 16.
in Fate Reforged. And Ojutai, look, if you've got 7 mana to spend, is a great place to put the 7 mana. It's got 5/6 flying and vigilance, and whenever a dragon you control attacks, which of course includes Ojutai, you get to tap a non-land permanent your opponent controls, and it doesn't untap during their next untap step. The card just completely dominates most board states, and it will here until it gets kill shotted. He's even then, though, going to get some value out of it. It'll still tap down the Pharaoh Khrushchev or something along those lines. And you got to love the backup plan for Paul Rietzl. Treasure Cruise.
No blocks.
Khrushchev just attacks.
Mid 11. Yes.
Just attacks right into Ojutai, who is bigger at 5/6, but
Yeah,
Paul
Paul
Rietzl doesn't
knew
want to risk losing
Green
Ojutai
mana?
to a
No, I'm not
combat
blocking
trick.
versus green mana. Doesn't
Yeah.
know which trick it is, but
Even
he knows
white.
there's something.
Yeah, even white mana could get him there.
Sure.
Heck, even a throttle. There's the list of things that kills Ojutai there in this set that Lee Shi Tian could cast is long. So,
But yeah,
he's
Lee
gonna
Shi
trade a
Tian-
little life total there.
Lee both had the trick that could turn Khrushchev into somebody to beat up Ojutai, and also has the kill shot.
What was the trick he has?
Dragon Scale Boon.
Boon.
So yeah, he wasn't bluffing on the attack, but he also has the kill shot. Kind of a tough spot for Paul. And the Dragon does seem kind of doomed here. I don't know
That's
how
just
you
when
can-
you treasure cruise into the other one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, plan A.
He is going to cruise before he decides what he's attacking with.
He's going to get more information about how he wants to proceed here.
Island, backup Ojutai,
He did actually
and a
find
land.
it.
Sure, kill shot it.
Just like
I'm
we
okay.
mapped it out.
And of course, the pre-combat treasure cruise also triggers prowess on both the seeker
Now,
and the student.
the question I have, though, is can Lee Shi Tian play both Boon and Kill Shot this turn?
Yes.
Because he can Dragon Scale Boon the thing that gets hit with Ojutai or his Pharaoh Khrushchev and maybe set up good blocks on the ground and take care of
Wow.
Ojutai.
Yeah, Lee
which
has
is-
exactly 7 mana available, and Whisperer is the 7th. I guess he's got 8 because of the Ferocious. So
Right.
he even has a spare mana.
Wow. So at least from Lee Shi Tian's side, this could be a pretty strong
Yes,
turn.
correct.
Agreed.
Though when Paul Rietzl casually slams another Ojutai next turn, he might
Yeah,
not
Paul's at
feel as
11,
great.
though. Like, the tempo from Killshot plus Dragon Scale Boon here is actually pretty swingy.
Yeah, the interesting thing is the Seeker of the Way did get triggered from Treasure Cruise.
Right, so Paul's gonna gain
Paul's
3
gonna
life.
gain 3, but it's going to get eaten by something here.
Sure.
So Feral Krushak starts off by being untapped here.
That was the Ojutai target?
It must have been. It was already tapped. But
Nothing new
remember,
got tapped,
you
so
can
I think Paul
freeze
just
it down.
Paul did not want that creature attacking next turn. Makes
Right.
sense. Well, turns out it's blocking and attacking next turn.
So it's set up to gobble up Seeker of the Way
Yeah. Archer's Parapet can block Einak Bonkin.
cleanly.
That's a bounce. And now you
The-
probably just take the
2/4
Jeskai student.
Student probably just gets through.
Yeah, at 20, sure. And now here comes the second piece of bad news for Paul.
5 count.
The kill shot.
Yes.
Lee was asking Paul how many cards he had in his
He's
hand.
thinking? Seriously? You're going to not kill Ojutai? Does he have scouting in front? Okay, he's still deciding his blocks. I
He's
see.
just seeing if he wants to double block the student here and trade his 2/1 flyer.
Yeah, that's 4 power in front of the 2/4 student.
Correct.
And 1 prowess trigger this turn.
That's right. And Paul Rietzl's completely
Yeah,
tapped
tapped out, so there's not going to be another one.
Right.
You can trade student for Paul's choice of those 2 creatures, and Paul is, of course, going to put the flyer in the front rather than the 2/2
I have
ground
no
creature.
effects.
All right, no effects from Paul Rietzl and kill
Okay.
shot Ojutai. All right, so Ojutai
All right,
falls.
so shields that. You take. I gain 3. I'm at 14.
And no ill effect really from Ojutai. I think that was about the minimum impact that that card could possibly have on a game.
It's true.
Lee just had
Sure.
each of the correct answers to it. The problem is now Paul's gained 3 life, even though he's lost a couple of creatures there, and he's at 15, and it's going to be quite difficult for Lee Shi Tian to close the door before the second Ojutai does
yeah, I'm
take
sorry.
over the board state.
And 7 power Feral Krushak's not nothing.
Totally.
But like you say, Paul at 15, he will have time to play the second Ojutai. He may be forced to risk a block. Like, that Krushak is, I guess, what? It attacks once, you play Ojutai, it attacks a second time, now you can lock it down with Ojutai?
Yes, but then you're at 1, so I think you probably throw something in front on the second attack.
You're going to chump with Monastery Flock. At
Right.
some point, Paul's like, all right, I'll chump now.
Yes. And Lee Shi Tian has nothing to follow up and just passes the turn back. So,
Does have an Awakening Bear.
that could be interesting too.
And Hostilities, too? How many rares did Paul get?
Wow. An
And
elite,
Elite
scale
Scale Guard.
guard. A mythic uncommon, as
This
we've
deck
been
is
calling it.
nuts.
All right, so it looks like Paul wants to
Jeez.
take a more controlling route here. He says,
Oh, yeah.
you know, let's just clear out the board.
When you have End Hostilities in Ojutai, there is a correct order to play them in.
And Paul Rietzl's demonstrating that here, wiping away the board
Okay.
and
Yes.
passing the turn back. And now he gets to see what Lee Shi Tian has. And this is where Lee wants to draw his best, most expensive bomby spells. Maybe not
Or
Archer's
Archer's Parapet.
Right. So passes the turn back, and Paul Rietzl says, yep, this is exactly how I drew this up. Play an Ojutai, get some value out of it. Play End Hostilities, play another Ojutai. Look at my opponent's face to see how quickly his jaw hits the floor. And there it is, Ojutai number 2.
Unbelievable.
How is Lee Shi Tian?
Look at the smirk on his face.
He
Like,
put his
what am
hands
I-
up like, sure,
His
it resolved.
last 3 turns have gone Ojutai, End Hostilities, Ojutai. Oh, we took time off for Treasure Cruise.
Yeah,
in
don't forget
between,
the
sorry.
Treasure Cruise, right?
Ojutai, Treasure Cruise, End Hostilities, Ojutai.
And Paul's going to be much less bashful here. He's just going to
Combat.
start attacking with his Ojutai, keep that parapet locked down. Blood's in the water, as they say. You can
Yeah.
13.
smell that. Parapet
Take
does
5.
get activated, take 5. So in 3 short turns, this game could be over if Lee can't come up with a way to mitigate Ojutai Soul of Winter. And remember, Paul's got 5 cards in his hand. 4 are spells, I believe. Like, he
Just
is
3.
ready to roll. Ah, okay.
Just Elite,
Trigger.
Scale Guard, Jeskai Student, and a Whisk Away. That's all.
Go.
Wow. What a beating. So now virtually any creature doesn't get it done for Lee Shi Tian, as it either gets locked down or tapped down or both by Ojutai and the Elite Scale Guard. So blocking isn't going to happen here. And Lee Shi Tian needs something along the lines of his
Combat.
own End Hostilities to get out of this mess.
All right. So this targeting that, this targeting that.
So the poor parapet is just getting beaten into the ground, tapped, and then tapped again.
Retapped.
4, 5,
And then
10.
frozen up for a turn, too.
Complete demolition. And Lee Shi, the first Ojutai, Lee had the perfect hand. He had the Dragon Scale Boon and the kill shot. And Paul just shrugs it off.
And
you
so does
have
Lee
to
Shi
laugh
Tian.
about that one. You have to just laugh. Shake your head, extend your hand, and move on.
And that is going to do it. So Paul Rietzl handily defeats Lee Shi Tian, who, like you said, just has to kind of give a smile and say, wow, you drafted a nice one, sir, and move on. So Paul Rietzl is going to improve to 8-2, Lee Shi Tian 7-3. So why don't we jump over and take a look at Jesse Hampton versus Eric Froelich here. That's Jesse on the left-hand side of your screen. And Eric Froelich on the right. So we got a chance to actually watch Eric Froelich draft his deck, and he's playing heavy green-black. He's splashing blue for not a whole lot, but some important stuff. Sagu Mahler comes to mind as his best blue card. What's Jesse up to over there, though?
Well, we saw him last round against Jacob Wilson.
Right.
And by way of update, there was a play where Jesse Hampton cast a Harsh Sustenance by tapping an Island, a Swamp, and a Harsh Barrens. So,
Scoured Barrens.
Scoured Barrens, sorry. So he actually received a warning after the match for a game rules violation for casting Harsh Sustenance with the wrong mana.
Yeah, a few of our viewers had caught that. We had just jumped into the match, and that play happened, and they noticed that. So the judges have addressed it, and we're moving on. As we come in here, Jesse Hampton finds himself up a game against Eric Froelich. Certainly an enviable spot to be. And it looks like he's rumbling into the red zone here with a couple of nice big attackers, and Eric Froelich is deciding his blocks.
Yeah, they're both black-green.
Yeah. You're at 4.
Both basically black-green decks.
Jesse Hampton just traded off creatures, but left himself with a 5/5 armament core.
Yeah, Jesse is splashing a little bit of white and a little bit of blue. So it's like black-green splash blue versus black-green splash white blue. Maybe it's odds on. It just depends. It's hard to know exactly how to label these limited decks when you have the super small splashes.
Right. Efro has 3 Pro Tour top 8s. Hampton has 1. Hampton said in his post-game interview that he's played a lot of Khans of Tarkir draft. Hasn't done quite as many with Fate Reforged, only a few leading in to the
wow, that
weekend.
Nashville win is his only Grand Prix top 8. I didn't realize that. I would have expected a few more from him. But like you said, he doesn't travel all that much.
No. He said it's hard to qualify for the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Yes. I will say he makes it look easy. Seems to qualify whenever he feels
Motivated
the
to do so.
motivation, yeah. Two pretty stoic players overall. You see not a lot of chatter between these two. Dutiful return? Wow. Looks like Jesse anticipated a grindy matchup here and wanted to be able to grind out some card advantage. So he's going to play Dutiful Return. He's going to get 2 creatures back from his graveyard to his hand, and they're nice ones. He's getting Gurmag Angler and Armament Core, and he can just fire off that Gurmag Angler here. Like, he is going to be able to just play it.
That is, in fact, in from the sideboard.
The Dutiful?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Seth Manfield hits double digits in wins. 10-0.
Wow, he is
holds
just
on to
on
King of the
fire.
Hill. Deals Martin Muller Martin's second loss of the weekend. Yeah, if you're undefeated overnight and can win your draft pod, you're in pretty good shape. One match left to pull that trick off.
How good a shape are you in? Like, you obviously feel fantastic, but I mean for top 8.
You might only need one more win.
Holy smokes.
I mean, you haven't clinched it.
Sure.
But, I mean, usually you can afford 3 losses in a draw. That's how it usually... I mean, this Pro Tour is slightly bigger than the average recent Pro Tour. So, I mean, maybe... Usually you'll see, like, the top X4 might sneak in. I think that's less likely this weekend because we have another, extra 20 or so players versus what we've had. But, yeah.
All right, and that's going to do it. Jesse Hampton, thanks to Meandering Tower Shell, coming back in from being hidden. A couple of counters on a Disown Ancestor, and his other attacker is able to defeat Eric Froelich.
Wow.
Yeah, Jesse Hampton putting up a great run here. He is now 9-1.
Speaking of playing to win the draft pod next round.
Yes.
He'll be playing to win pod 2.
That's great. Pod 2 is a tough pod, too. So
Definitely.
So it looks like we'll jump back over and check in on Matt Oldeker. If you remember from a few minutes ago, he is a first-time Pro Tour competitor. And he's playing against Jelger Vigersma.
Yeah, Jelger is blue-red. We watched him draft this blue-red deck. Nice mana curve. He won the first round.
And he's got a nice turn 4 play here.
Now, is this game 2 or game 3?
This is a game 3
okay.
here between
so
these two.
Jelger won a quick one in game 2 before we got a chance to even check in on it. Matt Oldeker is teamer.
Green-red with a little bit of blue.
Yeah, green-red with splash of blue.
This one.
Only seeing the green and the red here so far. But he does have a 4-mana play.
Yeah, Jelger looking to break 400 career pro points with a decent finish here. I don't know, he might even be likely to do that, sitting on 7-1-1 so far. Certainly very likely to break 200 grand in career winnings.
It's funny to look at that, too. I don't know if you caught it, but Jelger has 198,800 more dollars won at Magic than his opponent. I mean, to be fair, it is Oldeker's first Pro Tour, so it's not a fair comparison, but it's just funny to see because it's in the same spot on our graphic. All right, so that was actually a Vault Breaker there for Oldeker, but it's going to die immediately to a Winter Flame from Jelger. And there's a Formless Nurturing now.
Wow, that Treasure Cruise looks perfect for Jelger. Sort of dumps his hand and then refills it. Looks like Leaping Master did make the cut, even as a vanilla.
It did.
No white mana to activate it.
Huh, this is an interesting spot for Jelger. He's got a Mardu Heartpiercer in his hand now, and he could decide if he wants to effectively trade off.
Attack the Leaping Master
yeah.
and use the Heartpiercer.
He could also
the
maybe
cruise
just
line
not
better.
have it blocked as well. But yeah, it looks like he's going to get to play 2 spells this turn using this line, and they're 2 good
Crippling
ones.
Chill, if I'm not mistaken. Crippling Chill Mountain, and I didn't see the third.
I think it's another mountain. So a nice productive turn there for Jelger. Fires off a Treasure Cruise, gets 3/1/1 tokens onto the battlefield, and doesn't look like he's under immediate pressure. Oldeker has a Bear's Companion in his hand. I don't think he's got any blue mana yet, though.
You are correct.
But he gets to attack with this Manifest, and this is where things get very interesting. Because with all that extra mana up, I mean, this could be everything from a Woolly Loxodon, a Sagu Archers. There's a lot that this could be. It also could be a mountain.
Yeah. Oh, wow. He found the island.
Ooh, nice follow-up play. Yeah, so Oldeker gets in there for 3 damage with his Manifest, and then follows up by adding 6 power and toughness to the battlefield over 2 creatures. So you got to like that if you're sitting in Oldeker seed. Passes a turn back to Jelger.
Yeah, he is out of gas, though, and Jelger just cast Treasure Cruise. That card's only legal and limited this weekend.
That's right.
Pretty good spell. So Matt's a little worried about what Jelger will have for him. Crippling Chill and Heartpiercer can deal a lot of damage, although neither truly deals with that 4/4. Wow, he attacked Leaping Master into the bear, and Matt was not interested in blocking.
Wow.
Which is interesting, because Jelger, I think, kind of wanted him to block. Like, he would have gone Heartpiercer. The Heartpiercer comes at raid ability plus the Leaping Master. He would have traded for the bear.
Yeah, what's
happily,
the card that are you? I'm looking at blue-red. Nothing's jumping to mind.
Teamer Battle Rage.
Don't
would be
say
a trade.
that.
I mean, there's a bunch of
2
stuff that trades.
Didn't you 2 for 1? right? I mean, if you Temur Battle Rages, you're like, sweet. I don't think there's anything that actually gets him there.
Well, the bear would die.
Yes.
I mean, I think if you block, your bear's probably going to die, but you're probably 2-for-1ing your opponent.
Yeah.
But Yelger offered you this trade.
Yeah, there's a reason for it. And
Matt
also
knows that Yelger knows this, and that Yelger knows that Matt knows what's in the format. So,
Sure.
I mean, I think the fact that Yelger wants to make this trade is a decent reason for Matt to just decline.
Yeah, and in this case, the Mardu Heartpiercer is a way that you could get a straight up 1-for-1, which would favor Yelger pretty strongly there too. So, also Oldeker's on, he was over 20 life at the time, so
Right.
had a lot to work with. Now, what about now?
Yeah, now you've seen the
now
Heartpiercer.
Matt snaps it off. But Cunning Strike that Yelger just drew is going to finish off well, and turns out the Mountain. A couple of extra damage to Oldeker and a card draw here from Yelger. So Yelger's moving things nicely. I think he still has that crippling chill. Yes, he does. He's even got the land to cast it if he wants. Yelger's been churning through his deck pretty nicely here, too. Treasure Cruise, Cunning Strike. He's going to play Crippling Chill. He's got, we call it Velocity, where you get to keep seeing and drawing new cards.
Matt's got, I don't know what you want to call it, but his creatures are a lot bigger than Yelger's.
So Feral Cruciak's going to get tapped down. That's still leaving a 4/4.
Right. It's a 4/4 and a 5/4 against a board of 3 1/1s, a 2/3, and an 0/5.
So no great attacks here for Oldeker, and no great plays either. He just passes the turn back to Yelger, who I believe found another island. He's drawn a lot of lands this game.
Yeah, he's mostly out of gas. I think he's... Oh, is he down to the Pearl Lake Ancient? That counts. Now we found the finisher. That one dragon slot we were talking about.
Let's see. We're going to see it right here. There it is. Pearl Lake Ancient hits the battlefield. Card is nearly impossible to kill.
And
it's bigger than
it's
almost
gigantic.
anything. Yeah, and he's going to be able to start doing big chunks of damage. Interestingly, Oldeker does have a potential double block down the line here. Oh, geez, Shu Yun off the top, too. Well,
Rare into rare.
turns
Now
out Pearl Lake
things-
Ancient, mythic rare, right into Shu Yun, the Silent Tempest, and all of a sudden the tables look firmly turned on Oldeker, who had, I'd say he was like slightly ahead for a few turns there on board without a lot of momentum, but now all of a sudden Yelger has drawn 2 of his very best cards, and he is ready to rumble.
Yeah.
Feral Cruciak is just going to get chump locked here. It looks like Yelger just feels like that's the best thing he's going to get out of these 1/1 goblins. I mean, he's at 17.
Yeah,
he
he
could
just
certainly
wants to-
take the hit, but
I think he wants to preserve, make sure he stays safe, nothing crazy happens down the road.
yeah, if those goblins aren't going to do much anyway, then might as well cash him in for 5 life. Now, Yelger did not attack this time.
True.
Because he's facing down a 5/4 and a 4/4. And a simple double block means he would just be trading that Pearl Lake Ancient for a Feral Cruciak. It turns out having huge creatures to block with for Oldeker is a pretty nice way to deal with the Ancient. You don't see that often in Standard.
Yeah, Riverwheel Aerialist might have actually been better here than Pearl Lake. I don't think it's better in general, but it might have been better on this board. Lotus Path Djinn.
Lotus Path Djinn's fine here as well for Yelger. It will get him on the path to victory as he can start attacking with it. Right now, it's the only creature he has that can cleanly attack.
Flies. Yelger draws any spells, though.
Ugh.
Like between the Powers triggers and Sun Yun, he's in great shape.
No, that's not the one he wanted.
Smoldering Efreet?
Yeah, the Randy Bueller. But, this is a turn 12 Smoldering Efreet or whatever.
I'm off it, by the way.
You're over it. Noted. And ignored. So Oldeker digging for an answer. He actually needs answers to multiple things. Because one thing about the Pearl Lake Ancient is that, was that a second main phase?
Second main phase
Dasher?
Valley Dasher. Available for blocking purposes. This turn only.
He's got to deal with that Ancient at some point because he can't attack through it. Sure, he's got 2 big creatures to block it, which is nice. But it doesn't take much from Yelger to break that up. A Force Away, something along those lines. And
Oh, Jelger drew an instant or sorcery.
ooh.
In this case, it's an instant that also draws him a card and kills something.
Yeah, something being, in this case, an Alpine Grizzly or a Warname Aspirant as well.
He's going patient, just a Lotus Path Djinn.
He's going to trigger it, though.
Conic Strike him and give him double strike.
And he's going to give it double strike.
Sure.
Shu Yun is active. So this is a big turn for Jelger.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tap to filter.
Yeah. And then taking 6.
Okay, so he mistapped his mana, but he had the correct mana available, so it didn't actually matter. So Prowess trigger on the Lotus Path Djinn makes it 3 power, and then the double strike from Shu Yun means that that's over half of Oldeker's life total there, which I don't think was at 11 before that. I think he was actually at 7, because I think he just took 6, and now he's down. Actually, he took 2 extra, so he must have been at 9. He's at 1 now. And Oldeker is doing the old...
Well, I'm dead anyway.
We're dead anyway. Let's make Jelger think about it, though.
He does have a Temur Battle Rage in his hand. Can't imagine that matters here.
17.
Heart Piercer can eat the Valley Dasher.
This is a game 3 here, so there's going to be no
Oh, this got shot with
information.
Conic Strike.
Yeah, Alpine Grizzly's dead.
These guys are attacking.
Yeah, Monastery Flock was blocking a ghost.
Probably blocks Warning. Okay, Flock on the Bear. Heart Piercer on the Warname Aspirants. And
I love the token blocking the Valley Dasher. Jelger refuses to take damage. He just has no interest in it.
I'll block like this.
Like that.
I don't think instant speed overrun wins the game for Oldeker here. There's Temur Battle Rage, which
Okay, Ferocious trigger.
allows Oldeker to 2-for-1 himself just
Yeah.
to get rid of the Ancient, but would die to the Lotus Path Djinn, and Jelger Vigersma improves to 8-1-1.
Like stay low.
Defeating Oldeker. That's only Oldeker's second loss on the whole weekend, though. So he's still
yeah, he's still in good shape.
he's still in good shape here.
Well, we get Jelger versus Jesse for Pod 2. Is that how this is going to play out?
That does look like how it's going to play out.
We had some different records in that pod, so it's possible that there's a third person on X1. I don't think so, though. I think everybody with a loss has now lost except Jesse. I think it'll be Jesse versus Jelger, but there might be one more.
What do you make of that matchup?
Jesse versus
playing
Jelger?
kind of a 4-ish color deck against Jelger with the streamlined blue-red that we saw.
What I think about that match is I want to watch it.
I want to watch it,
It's
too.
a couple of very good limited players with, some good takes on the format. Guys that are totally capable of thinking for themselves, with some interesting decks.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and we've seen, we were talking about Jesse a little earlier, and he was, we interviewed him as well, and he kept just saying how much he loves limited. He really does view himself in that way. He considers himself a draft expert, a draft specialist. Probably giving himself not quite enough credit for how good he is at constructed, because his constructed record is generally quite strong as well. Even though sometimes he picks weird decks. That's the one thing I've seen about him.
Sort of local ringer syndrome, right?
Yeah, exactly. But Jelger Vigersma, he just wins a bunch, right? Like, how shocked would you be to see him pick up a top 8 at this later stage of his career? When was the last time he top 8? I know you don't have it off the top of your head, but it's been
a while.
Right?
It's been a while.
It's been.
I think he had the 4 top 8s when he got voted into the Hall of Fame, and that was quite a few years ago.
That was a long time ago.
I don't think he's had a top 8 since he got into the Hall.
No, but he plays with Pantheon, right?
Absolutely. He plays with Pantheon, just, great teammate to have around. He's the kind of guy, I think, more known for his limited skills than his constructed skills. But, anytime a new format comes out, he's just sort of quietly solving things and telling you which cards you should be trying to draft. So, Great guy to have around.
Yeah, and always nice to add another Hall of Famer to your team's roster. It looks like we actually have an interview with Jelger down in the feature match area where Tim Willoughby awaits.
Hello, I'm Tim Willoughby here with Jelger Vigersma after another victory. You've been in the feature match area quite a bit this weekend, enjoying the King of the Hill table yesterday. But we were watching your draft for this one. We got a chance to see it from pick 1. This time round, you didn't have quite the same strategy as last time.
Yeah, which is kind of unfortunate because I really like that strategy, just going 5 colors, picking all the lands, all the rares. But Yeah, this time I opened a good blue rare that is best in like a aggressive blue-red prowess deck. So once I got that, and then I got a second pick, Flame Rush Rider, yeah, exactly, yeah, which kind of fits that strategy pretty well. Also, and yeah, from there it just seemed good to stay on point and to not divert from that strategy too much.
I mean, I guess that if your strategy is pick the lands and pick the rares, you just did it in the opposite order this time round, right?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, the strategy I usually go for is the 5-color strategy, so it's a little different. I ended up with like a decent like blue-red control deck that's just 2 colors this time. So, but yeah, I'm still pretty happy with it.
I mean, I guess the interesting pick for me in there were 2 in the draft really. One of them was around when you saw a Riverwheel Aerialists and said, I want to go in a slightly different direction and take a spell there. And then when you picked up that Pearl Lake Ancient that we saw being so decisive in that final game against Matt Oldacre.
Yeah, I don't really remember what I took over the Riverwheel Aerialist, but I don't think that's a very good card, actually. And my deck was already like pretty clunky, like lots of high-end stuff, so I didn't think I'd need the finisher or anything at that point. But Pearl Lake Ancient it's on a little bit of a different level. It's just such a good card, and you can just, you have inevitability basically, because you can always like protect it, and yeah.
Yeah, if you want to go big, there's really very few ways of going any bigger than a Pearl Lake Ancient.
Exactly, yeah.
So just one more round of draft, and then you're back to constructed. Where would you say that you're most comfortable in this particular Pro Tour?
Definitely draft. I mean, that's just what I'm generally better at, I think, where I'm more comfortable. I've only done about 4. I did 5 drafts preparing for this Pro Tour, so not too many, but we had a good like meeting before the Pro Tour, just talking about like all the cards, all the commons, like what order they should be picked in, and we discussed every rare, so that was very helpful. So yeah, I was pretty comfortable with draft, and it's going well so far. Modern, I don't think my deck's actually a good choice, because it's pretty bad against Abzan, and that's a big part of the field. But
oh well, one more round of limited left to go. Plenty of drafts in the tank that's led you to another decent draft deck. I'm going to pass things back to the news desk now. Tim Willoughby here with Jelga Wiegersma.
All right, thanks very much to Tim Willoughby there with Jelga Wiegersma of the Netherlands. So why don't we get to the scoreboard? We'll bring you some of the results that are coming in. The undefeated Seth Manfield remains the undefeated Seth Manfield. 10-0. 9-1, you've got Austin Bursovic, his co-overnight leader, and Jesse Hampton is now up to 9-1. Tons of 8-2s there, but remember, in just a moment, you'll see Jelga Wiegersma's name popping into there at 8-1-1. So he's actually right now in 4th place, ahead of all the 8-2s. That result making its way from the feature match area to the master scoreboard operators back at base. So then you've got the 8-2s, Zvi Moshevitz, Hall of Famer, Eric Froelich, the number 11th ranked player in the world, Grand Prix winner last week. Frank Karsten is up to 8-2, 1-1 in the draft. Yuki Ichikawa, watch out for him, 6-2 overnight, now 8-2. Justin Cohen, he's the Madison PTQ winner, playing here for the first time, and great job by him, up to 8-2. Pierre Dajon, Pro Tour finalist, 8-2, and Paul Rietzl, what a deck he had against Lee Shi Tian. Matt Oldacre, we now know, has fallen to 8-2, but we are waiting for the result. Stephen Murray and Alexander Bonneau still going as we head down towards the end of this round. But I can tell you that we have a very special guest waiting at the wall. It's time to go deep inside the draft viewer. Brian David Marshall is waiting patiently with Eric Froelich.